I've always been of the impression that people feel an inadequacy or something in their own personal life or self, so they feel like they have this really nice, souped-up car. It'll give them more value or make them more attractive to women or whoever.
Oh my god.
Stop this!
Welcome back to the situation. Hopefully you guys are all doing well, and let's go ahead and just get right into it. We're gonna go ahead and go over I was gonna do 2 videos, but I think I might only have a little bit of time to do one right now, and then I'll just do another one later. And it's not necessarily in the order that I want, but that's incidental, so we don't have to worry about that. We're gonna go over one video. It's brought to us by let's see here, Hate Army Watch. DSP doubts Twitch's investigation found anything, and a hateful compilation. This is from May 9th of 2022. I'll have the link down in the description. To make to open my synopsis with this nonsense, give you my early summary, if you will. It's not, DSP is so focused on what he thinks they hit him for, or what he thinks that he may have said, instead of paying attention to what he's worried. Sorry, let's reword that. He's more worried about what he didn't say compared to everything that he has said, period, because he has a one-track mind like that, and in his head he doesn't look at all of the literal verbal abuse that he puts onto his audience as being hateful speech, right? He looks at it as, hey, it's my stream, I'll do what I want, and that's that. If I don't like the way you're acting, I'm going to treat you whichever way because it's my stream. And on just a fundamental level, if you look at his situation, if you look at a lot of streamers' situations, if you look at just the online base where you're reliant on people for your income, right? Because you have no sponsorships, you're not collaborating with anybody, you don't have any real contracts and shit. And speaking of which, when we talk about contracts, and we'll get into that later on, if not in this video, in another one, that contract, that Twitch contract, the partnership, I should say, means jack shit, and it's been like that for a number of years. Now, I don't mean, when I say that, I'm not trying to dog anybody who has that. I don't mean to come across disrespectful like that. What I'm saying is that's still like base level shit compared to what successful streamers have. Like a real contract on Twitch, right? A real deal, if you will, on Twitch is you actually streaming on their platform and you're getting guaranteed money on top of everything else. Period. If you're not getting guaranteed money, then you don't have a real contract. You're still on some baseline shit. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can get affiliate. They're damn near trying to pass out partnerships like it's like pancakes, if you will. If you're willing to put the time in. and you can get the followership and everything. And then look at how you have all the bigger guys either jumping ship or considering jumping ship. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when they jump ship from Twitch over to YouTube, for example, there's guaranteed money there. They're going into another contract where it's 6 figures or up guaranteed on top of all the other little things, right? This goes back to Keemstar's still stuck on level 1. DSP's crying about this little fucking partnership deal, right? And there's no guaranteed money there. You're still begging. And with that being said, what was the point of even leaving Twitch in the first place when he was basically fucking Twitch on a daily basis? In that, give me tips. Give me tips. Tips are the best way to support me. Subs, bits, gifted subs and bits were all secondary. You know what I'm saying? That was all secondary. Tips is essentially running the day. If Twitch was getting a cut of streamers' tips, like if they had their own infrastructure set up to where you could get tips through them instead of Streamlabs or Stream Elements or PayPal or whatever the case may be, right? Then DSP might have been prioritized a little bit more, but he's not. In that, he's too much of a toxic asset. He is literally he's a toxic commodity. And if you look at it, if you look at his whole history, honestly, it's just one platform shoveling him off to the next platform. He's literally a prostitute. When he's on a platform, he sucks them off. He talks about how great they are. Yeah, he'll throw his criticisms and all that bullshit, but essentially he's sucking them off all day. Once they boot him, for whatever reason, he just goes to the next John, which is the next platform, and then the exact same thing happens. It's all this constant circle until they'll take him back. But we'll save that for another video. This whole celebrating his 1-year anniversary from leaving Twitch or separating from Twitch and coming back to YouTube, which, keep in mind, he left Twitch. Twitch didn't kick him off the platform. Let's go ahead and reestablish that if it's not been established already. They just demonetized him. That's it. He can stay on the platform. He can still collect his tips, tips that, help him the most. He just doesn't get all the other little perks. And if DSP can't have everything, then he just doesn't want to be there, which is ironic because in a lot of ways, them demonetizing him and him taking his snorts and running back to YouTube mirrors when he couldn't have his high bit rate on Twitch back in the day. And when Twitch, they didn't even really chastise him. They were kind of just like, they kind of came down on him. Were like, hey, can you please just lower that? It wasn't really chastised. It was just asking him, hey, we need you to lower your bit rate. Well, everybody else has it. Why can't I? Hey, we need you to lower your bit rate. But everybody else is doing it. Phil, please. Because, everybody addresses him like Phil, right? Because it's all this personal level thing, which is another strange thing to his psychopathy where he tries to make it sound like people address him by name. It makes it more personable, right? It's not, you're not talking to DSP, you're not talking to Darkside Phil, you're talking to Phil Burnell on that type of level. But we'll save that for a whole nother time. But they were like, hey Phil, just bring it down, just bring the bit rate down. And he's like, fuck this, I'm going back to YouTube. And they didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And here's the funny part, he deactivated his account when he left. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just leave it standing, he deactivated it. And that's why he had to ask for them to reactivate it in the late 2016 before he came back, quote unquote, as a full-time streamer, as if he wasn't one already, on Twitch back in early 2017, first quarter of 2017. So he already had it in his head to go back. The problem is now he just doesn't have anywhere to go back to. You know what I'm saying? And then he's crying about in our current timeline. He's crying about super thanks. That didn't do him any favors. It didn't help him. It's not saving the business. He's bitching about gifted subs. He's spreading all kinds of misinformation on that shit, which is hilarious because he really doesn't know what it is. And just like with super thanks, he's sitting here bitching about that and he doesn't even understand how it works, which makes it even more ironic. And I'll go ahead and use this as my last jab. Not even my last jab. Fuck that. My last piece, my last piece on the sharpening board before we go ahead and get to this bacon getting cut, is this idiot wanted super thanks so goddamn bad, not realizing that because he had deactivated his comment section back in 2016, it might have been something like that. He's got like 5 years worth of content on the channel that he can't that he can't put super thanks on unless he goes back and activates or basically I was right. Activates the comment section on each and every one of those videos individually. He doesn't want to do that. He believes that he should be able to do everything in bulk. And if YouTube doesn't do that, he's not going to waste, quote unquote, his precious time going back and doing this. Now, keep in mind, this is a process that he could do. He doesn't have to do it all in one day. He could do it over a period of time. You know what I'm saying? You know, a couple of, 50 videos a day or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And he could activate it like that over a period of a couple months. Well, maybe a better part of a year, but let's say a couple months, he could have it all done, give or take. But he won't do it because he doesn't think about it that way. He wants this and he wants it now. And Super Thanks isn't helping him. So now he has to hope that people are going to go back and watch the old shit, which makes it even more ironic because a lot of his older shit in his catalog, not a lot of it, but a good amount of stuff in his older catalog is demonetized for whatever reason. They're still up. You can still watch them. They're just being demonetized. And you can't put Super Thanks on a video that has been demonetized. Oh well, we'll talk about that later on. Let's go ahead and get into the situation. I hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to the Pseudo Snort Report. You know how it all goes. And let's go ahead and get this bacon. Let's go ahead and get to this bacon. I'll see you guys in a second.
You know, it's a really good thing I'm not on Twitch anymore because even saying the word sim can get you banned from Twitch. I'm not even kidding. Remember they added that to their forbidden words list? Fucking stupid idiots.
Keep in mind, this is the same guy who has, like, crazy shit like Snort and Gout and other shit on his ban list back when he was on Twitch, too. So it's funny how that cuck culture that they have over there, that are fucking stupid idiots because he can't say what he wants and yada 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 because he could get hurt or he could get banned or his business could collapse at any given time. It's funny how it's really immature, it's really fucked up. They're really ignorant for doing that on their end. But when he does it, it's all well and good. It's a thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the Hate Army Watch. DSP doubts Twitch's investigation found anything, and then a hateful compilation. This is from May 9th of 2022, or of this year, 2022, however you want to word it. The link will be down in the description. Yikes. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I have... There we go. I'll put that right there in the corner. Alright, here we go. Let's see here. If we do this right, we'll be all right.
You know, it's a really good thing I'm not on Twitch anymore because even saying the word sim can get you banned from Twitch. I'm not even kidding. Remember they added that to their forbidden words list? Fucking stupid idiots. Skis TV says YouTube is far from perfect, but at least they don't hold streamers accountable for things other people are doing on their streams to a reasonable extent. For my knowledge, yes. And like I said, one of the major things that I have really enjoyed in the last year coming to YouTube full time, I don't feel like I'm walking on eggshells here. I don't. I've been doing YouTube for how long? I don't get in trouble for my content here because I don't do anything risque. I don't do anything, that should be considered offensive. You know what I'm saying? On Twitch, it was like any little thing you say and do can be misconstrued or twisted, or you could get false reported, and the idiots believe it and fucking penalize you for it.
But see, here's the thing. Think about what he just said there for a minute. I don't get penalized for every little thing that happens to me. I don't have to walk on eggshells over here. You know what I'm saying? I don't have, whatever, right? He's free to express himself, quote unquote, because he doesn't do anything wrong, right? He did everything correct. It was never his fault. But yet, it was that same freedom that he so appreciates now, right? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and take in the gouty air of Goutopia that he's sucking in, right? is the very thing he used to chastise YouTube for when he was on Twitch, saying that the only reason why those mentally ill fucking detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, the only reason why they're allowed to do what they're able to do on YouTube, the only reason why they're allowed to profit, the only reason why they're allowed to actually thrive, right? Because we're not surviving over here like what happens over there with DSP. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's actual growth over here. We're thriving. He's whatever. Which is hilarious. Anyway, the reason why the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics have such a foothold on YouTube is because YouTube was so irresponsible, because YouTube was so lax, because YouTube allows us to have all this freedom, right? And he used to chastise YouTube for this shit all the fucking time. He's like, I want to take them down, but YouTube won't do it, right? Even though then we go ahead and back snort a little bit and say, oh, well, I didn't actually want to take them down. Other people wanted to get that content taken down, and they just told me about it. You know what I'm saying? I never, ever tried to get anybody deplatformed. It was other people who were asking me my opinion or came to me and said, hey, Phil, we're going to go after these people. What are your thoughts? Oh, well, whatever, dude. Do what you got to do. Like what happened to Tevin, what happened to TXT, what happened to Bill Purnell on Twitch, right? Like that. Or like what's going on in recent times where, oh, well, I'm thinking about reacting to the This Is How You Don't Play of Metal Gear Solid 2. Evil AJ. Everybody knows Evil AJ. I never took down the original. Oh, no, wait. I don't remember if I took it down. It was so long ago, and supposedly Evil AJ hates me because he thinks I took it down. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if I did. I don't remember. I don't remember if I took it down. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I don't remember. Okay, but then we get to the John and Howard response, and he says, "Oh, I never saw it. I never saw that video, so I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know who took that down. Everybody knows that he took that down. Everybody knows he took it down. He took it down through Machinima, right? But he took it down, just like he did with the Metal Gear Solid shit. He took that down through Machinima. That was the only reason why he got away with it and whatnot. But John and Howard were smart enough and had enough self-awareness to realize that, hey, this is going to hurt Phil, and it's going to hurt him bad. We need to upload this to, like, Mega Drive or whatever the case may be, whatever site they use, Megashare or whatever, or any type of file sharing site, just so other people can get access to it, and then they can re-upload it, and which is exactly what happened. They, in a lot of ways, John and Howard played Phil. They played him hard into spreading that video around because they knew Phil. They knew exactly what DSP Darkside Phil was going to do, what Phil Burnell was going to do. And in truth, there's no difference between the three personas. DSP, Darkside Phil, and Phil Burnell are all the same pieces of garbage. Just two personas are a little bit more exaggerated for the third, because the third is just this weak, tiny, pathetic little man who has nothing to him, right? And he talked that tough shit through these other two personas, which is an absolute fucking joke. But semantics, we'll save that for another time. So how are you going to sit there and say, I don't know if I took down the This Is How You Don't Play? I may have, but I didn't take down the John and Howard response. Yikes. Anyway, but back to my original point. So now he wants to go ahead and suck YouTube off because he doesn't have to worry about essentially the bullshit, even though he has spent years upon years upon years, and you can find this in detractor videos everywhere, of him chastising YouTube for letting bullshit go on. Oh, it's okay for me, but not for thee. You know what I'm saying? I should be able to come over here and have free speech because, you know, I'm running a business that I know not a goddamn thing about, which is fucking pathetic, by the way. Been doing this for 14 years and don't know a goddamn thing. But it's okay for me to have free speech, but not everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So if he chastises a game or other content creators who are only doing this for money or who aren't really passionate or aren't playing games right, oh, that's my opinion, dude. And you have the right to disagree with that. But if it's anybody else saying that shit and they involve him into it, it's slander. It's defamation. That's bullshit. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. Don't they realize they're hurting me and my business? Why are they punching down on me? Whatever. Pity snorts all around. And then all the begging tweets and begging community posts, which is absolutely sad. I thought you were such a successful streamer that detractors, trolls, haters, and critics are so jealous of. Why the fuck are you making begging tweets? Why are you putting out begging community posts? I don't understand. Is that advertising? Is that what that is? It's not begging, right? It's business. Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm not well versed enough in all that.
Suspended for something I didn't even say on a stream. And then they fixed the mistake later in the day. It's like, what are you, fucking stupid? Yeah,
Why are you going to bitch about that? They've let you come back. They let you come back. But what about all the stuff that... So you're crying about the supposed thing that you didn't say, despite the fact that it sounds very much like what people thought you said. But what about all the other abusive shit that you've said and that you've done said and done on that platform? What about... Excuse me, when Superhound allegedly was taking you down on Twitch, right? And you sat there and threatened this man on Twitch saying that you're going... I think it was on Twitch. It may have been YouTube, actually, when you said that. Now that I think about it, when he said, "Oh, you piece of shit," he's something about, "I'm going to find you." I can't remember if he was actually... He just got knocked off of Twitch. But I don't know if he was streaming on YouTube while he was waiting to go back on Twitch. I'm not sure if he was streaming on YouTube when he said that. Or was he on Twitch when he said it? I can't remember now. But it doesn't even matter. That's a great example, but that doesn't even matter because there's a bunch of examples of abusive type behavior that he had exhibited on Twitch and YouTube, respectfully, that should have got him hit. Actually, let me give you a better example to go ahead and reinforce the former, right? To reinforce my first point. On Twitch, as a partner, anything that you do on any platform is a representation of Twitch. So if you were on YouTube acting like a jackass, but you have a Twitch partnership, that is you acting like a jackass on whatever platform it is as a representative of Twitch. You know what I'm saying? As a partner, you're in bed with Twitch. Well, you're kind of in bed. You're like at the bedpost, really. But you're in bed theoretically with Twitch as a partner, yeah? And so anything you do represents the company. Well, this nitwit has done all kinds of ridiculous shit on multiple platforms. On Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch, respectfully. Enough shit that he should have been reprimanded in some type of way, shape, or form at any given goddamn time. And it never happened. So, and that's kind of the thing with DSP as it pertains to repercussions. It's a slow burn, right? It never happens when you feel that it should happen, but it happens over time. It requires patience. You know what I'm saying? We're not going for... As a detractor, troll, hater, or critic, you're playing the long game. Period. If not, you're going to get bored really, really fast. And then that's when people start turning on each other and all that bullshit. So, it's all about the long game with those. It really is. If not, you're not going to really get anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get anywhere. It's not like in the Wings community, for example, where you can jump in, you can run ruckshot pretty comfortably in a very short amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can really build a successful channel off Wings if given how you do it and how you choose to express yourself on it. I mean, granted, there's politics behind the scenes with that shit like anything else, but it is what it is. Even though at current, the Wings community is kind of going through it at the moment, which sucks. Hopefully they get that worked out. And big ups to everybody over there. But DSP is definitely the long game. For sure. For sure. You know what I'm saying? And you're only going to get out of this what you put into it. DSP should... which makes it even more ironic, because DSP should have been paying attention to the former. A lot of the detractors that DSP has, detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, have been around for a really long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? He would never... It'd be foolish. It would be foolish for him to get into a debate with almost any detractor that I can think of off the top of my head who has, like, just intimate knowledge with anything that's been going on over the last 2 years to anybody who's been following him since 2017. And then even before that. So it gets broken up into tiers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he'd be a fool to do that. And all his semantics, all his bullshit about pushing the goalpost back, there should be any detractor worth their salt can counter that easy, super easy. So that's the reason why he don't want to get into a conversation with these people. He would rather get into a conversation with people like the Quartering, people like, I don't know about Rich. I don't think he's ever going to talk to Rich like that, because Rich knows too much about his history, and that in a lot of ways, Rich is looking to profit off of DSP in the same way that DSP would want to profit off of Rich. That's the reason why he was doing that cuckish white knighting with Wings. Like, Wings sees through his bullshit. Like, Wings knew it was all about the money, and he was like, go and get it. And then Wings went ahead, and if I remember correctly, he streamed like the first like 3 hours of that Wings of Redemption down the rabbit hole. Wings collected his what, $300-$500, and then he bounced out. That's all he needed. He knew what this was. He knew what it was from the jump before the Discord leaks or whatever the case may be came out, or Wings dropping the Discord conversation he had with DSP or Twitter, wherever it was. You could already see the collaboration there. Honestly, even if it was only as subtle, as get your money. You know what I'm saying? You knew something was already there, and Wings is so beat down mentally that why would he care? Like, why would he give a shit? And Wings was a smart one. He came in, he reacted to a little bit of it. Kelly was hilarious. They both got their money and they got out. But we'll save that for another time. We'll save that shit for another time. Point being, you're playing the long game.
Twitch staff are stupid. There's just no other explanation. You actually banned someone temporarily from your site when nothing happened on the stream because you're an idiot. Like,
and in a lot of ways, actually, now that I think about it, his Twitch partnership wasn't useless. At the time, when you look at April 20th / April 21st of 2021, that's when he got his ass booted off of Twitch. Or, well, he got kicked out of he got kicked off the monetization part of it. He got demonetized. His Twitch partnership really didn't mean anything. All he had was gifted subs. All he really had actually was just the gifted subs and the cheers, which is the same shit I think you can get as an affiliate. And that's kind of it. He didn't have any of the other perks because, according to him, he was completely cut off from the bounty board, which is not true. But he can keep preaching that shit all he wants. He just can't profit off of it the way he wants to because the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics know how it works. And he knows he needs the viewership. That's how the bounty board works. He needs viewership to profit. The problem is any detractor who decides to restream him is going to blow him out the motherfucking water. You know what I'm saying? And even people who are casual viewers of DSP would just watch the detractors instead of sitting over there watching him. So he's not going to benefit. That's really what it comes down to. And that he doesn't want to get clipped, and his hypocrisy about saying that a game is fucking good and it's really not because he's played the game the week or two before and he shitted on it. Go back to what was that called? Assassin's Creed Odyssey? I think. I'm pretty sure it was Assassin's Creed Odyssey that he was playing. And the week or two before he played it as part of the bounty board, or on the Twitch bounty board. He was shitting on that game. But then when he was doing the Twitch bounty for it, he was big up in that game all day, and it sounded hypocritical as shit. It was lame as fuck, which is ironic because he shits on people. He was shitting on people who use the bounty board, saying that they're just sucking up to the game because they're getting paid. But this is the same idiot who wanted to actually do a Twitch bounty once or twice a week. You know what I'm saying? He wanted that to be something as part of his routine or part of his repertoire, as he likes to call it, on a weekly basis. So yet again, the hypocrisy is real. Hypocrisy is real. But his Twitch partnership didn't mean anything because he didn't have a partner manager anymore. Whoever it was who was watching his ass was gone, and they didn't feel the need to allocate someone else to him. You know what I'm saying? When Tevin came back, for example, when Tevin went back and he ended up making partner, he had a partner right away. But DSP had no one. So if DSP fucked up in any little way, he was going to get hit, and there was no one to cry to. There was no one to give his sad story about how he got fired from the helicopter company and he went to Blip and all. Fuck all that. There was nobody there for that. No one was there to want to hear it. He wasn't worth it. So when he lost the Twitch manager, he should have realized that the doors were already closing on him. He was already obsolete. You know what I'm saying? He was already useless. And this is coming from the same idiot who used to sit there and say that YouTube was useless, there's no one that can help you, it's all automated. But when his dumbass got in trouble back in 2018, guess what happened? He ends up going right to YouTube support, and he was actually able to have a conversation with someone. There was someone on the other end to help him. So you see how when he needs help, the help is there. When he wants to bash YouTube for one of the many reasons that he feels justified in bashing them, oh, it's all automated, they're all idiots, there's way too much freedom of speech, you can't sue anybody, or you can, but I don't have the money to, yada yada yada. And he wonders why no one takes him seriously. And there's no reason to. For the amount of money that DSP has been able to make on the internet, he should have something tucked away for a rainy day. But then, now that I think about it, the idiot doesn't even know what a rainy day fund is. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know nor understand what savings is. So this whole conversation is obsolete. He doesn't understand it, and he doesn't want to understand it. He already looks at the world a certain type of way, and that's the only way he wants it to be perceived. He thinks that he can bend. He believes he can bend reality to his will, and it doesn't work that way. Either you accept life the way it is, or you get stepped on. And DSP's been getting stepped on. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, when you look at his fan base, when you look at his viewership, he's been reduced down to essentially the hardcore cult, not even hardcore, the cult-like fan base. That's all he has. The casual base is gone because there's so many other outlets to go to. He literally has the drudge. He has the base, like the very, very bottom of the, not even the bottom of the barrel. He has under the barrel of the people that are in his fan base. Those are the only people that are there now. And they can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Except very basic shit. And at the end of the day, it's not enough to supplement what he needs, nor does he want. You know what I'm saying? He needs more from them than just throwing cash at him. He needs people on social media really, quote unquote, spreading the word about Dark Side Phil, about DSP, that he's back on YouTube, that he has all these different ways of helping to support him and whatnot. He does live streams over here on YouTube now, twice a day. You know what I'm saying? Come by. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button. Do all that extra bullshit. He needs people to mobilize now. But he can't do that because he sat there and reduced YouTube to an archive channel, right? And he's conditioned the idiots that were on Twitch to just giving him money. And then this talk that he has about the discoverability on Twitch, it doesn't even work like that. Like, in actuality, it's going to be, if you're starting day one on YouTube or Twitch, it's going to be a struggle either which way. Your smartest move is to build up a viewership on YouTube, then dual stream for a while, and then try and hope that you can get people to cross over between the two platforms. If you try to go on the Twitch day one, you're going to be dead in the water unless you have a following somewhere. Whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on Instagram. That's the only reason why, in a lot of ways, not the only reason why, but that's one of the reasons why some of the more successful people on Twitch are where they're at. They had a following going to Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody, but the majority of people. Now, granted, some people were able to do it, the opposite way as well, but you get my drift. There is no real discoverability on Twitch. People watch who they want to watch, or they look for the games that they want to see, but that's not real discoverability. You have a better chance being discovered on YouTube, depending on how well you're doing, and depending on who's doing what you're doing, than you do on Twitch, I think. But, I can be wrong.
And YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube has a whole other slew of issues. I hate their content ID system. I hate the fact that your content can immediately be claimed and you lose all rights to your content. That's stupid. But at least, like just to give you an example, I've now been here for a year, right? I came back to YouTube roughly a year ago. I think we're actually almost at the exact day at this point that I came to YouTube full time last year. I haven't had a single issue with, oh, you said or did something wrong, no takedown, no bullshit, nothing. If anything, the only issues I had are some videos got blocked because I either left the music in it, or for some odd reason, YouTube's idiotic content ID match system thought that I was actually playing a movie instead of a game, which makes no sense. But I was able to clear those issues up on the fly, On Twitch, it's like, you're just fucked. We're just going to shut down your business. We don't care. You fix the issue after the fact. No, fuck you. Stop fucking with me and stop being unprofessional, right? So, at the very least, I do feel that there is a big...
Now, keep in mind, this is the same dude who got reprimanded for trying to do a fundraiser He tried to do a fundraiser for bits. For pennies. For pennies. Okay? Early 2018, this idiot right here, this is as he was moving Catherine in, by the way. This is him also in a dilemma of trying to pay his taxes, right? This idiot sat there, was trying to run fundraisers on Twitch for bits. For pennies. You know what I'm saying? Not even walk a goddamn dimes for pennies. Make a Snort Foundation. 1 penny one Snort equals 1 penny. This is how pathetic he was. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't. And even if it wasn't, I'm sorry, that's just hilarious. Even if it wasn't for bits, it's pathetic to hold a fundraiser on Twitch anyway to try to build money up for taxes. Collecting donations, right? Collecting contributions for taxes. It's still kind of lame, to be honest with you. Like collecting donations or contributions to better the stream, to give back to your streaming audience, shit like that. It makes sense. Do it for your taxes is lame as fuck. But I think people can look past that. People can look past that. This idiot was lying to people saying that he needed money for taxes when he was while simultaneously moving his girlfriend in, right? His soulmate in with that same amount of money. This is the same idiot who's holding fundraisers for fucking pennies. For fucking pennies, while allegedly having to pay back taxes on a state and business occupation tax. The same, not the same, an additional tax that he ran from Connecticut to Washington State for. Okay, real quick. This idiot left Connecticut because he didn't want to pay state taxes anymore. He wanted to just pay federal taxes and that's it. That's the reason why he moved to Seattle. Or he moved to Washington State. When Washington State has a state and business occupation tax, he made sure that Panda was paying her business taxes. But DSP, because he's big brain, right? You know what I'm saying? Fucking 400 IQ snorts here. This idiot was like, since my business is online, right, and it's not a brick and mortar, I'm not actually giving a physical product, I'm exempt from these business taxes. It's not some bullshit like, oh, his tax guy didn't tell him. It's not something like, oh, I didn't know that the state had a state and business occupation tax. It's, oh, I'm exempt from that. I'm not paying that because I'm exempt from it. That's what it came down to. That's the whole reason why this back tax bullshit even was a thing. Because this dumbass thought he was exempt from it. And then, what makes it even more ironic is this all happened in 2017. In 2017, when Panda left him, right? When she left, it's only a few months later that all of a sudden he's getting hit with the state and business occupation tax. The same state and business occupation tax that Panda was paying for. She was paying hers, the couple $100s or whatever it was. But DSP wasn't paying his. But it doesn't become a problem for DSP until after she moves out. And then he sits there and comes up with this story that someone took his name, excuse me, that someone took his name and sent it to all of the small business magazines that are out there. They put him on every mailing list for small business paraphernalia, advertising, and whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden, he was fucked. But if someone in that house, Panda, was already paying state and business occupation tax, she was probably getting a lot of those business magazines or journals anyway. Anyway, that's a whole nother story we can look at. We can bring that back up later. But that's where he's at with this. So just to give you an idea of the nonsense that this all entails.
And a lot more protections on YouTube against bullshit, you know. I've had false strikes and things against me that I've been able to get cleared up right away, and I haven't had any issues with it in the last year. So obviously that's a really good sign that they've improved. But exactly right, someone just said it. Man, they are slow moving and they can be really foot dragging lazy when it comes to making things better. There's no reason that in the year that I have been full-time streaming on YouTube, they couldn't have implemented improvements to make it more like Twitch. They should have absolutely...
Think about what he just said. Now that I'm stuck over here on YouTube, because that's what it comes down to. He's stuck here. He doesn't have a choice. He didn't come here by choice. He came here because he had no other options. Because I've been exiled from making money on Twitch, and I'm forced to come back to YouTube, why isn't YouTube... yet again, bending to my will and doing everything? Why isn't YouTube bending to my will or bending to his will? And now, why haven't they transformed into Twitch yet? Why isn't that a thing? Why don't I have my gifted memberships? Why don't I have some type of well, super thanks now, but why don't I have multiple little ways of being able to chip away at my cult-like fucking following to give me every little fucking dime, to pull every little dime and nickel and penny out of them? That's insane. That's insane. And the thing is, if he really cared about Twitch as much as he says he does, he wouldn't have acted like an asshole on Twitch. But he thought he was protected. He thought he was safe. Because he became a guinea pig for Twitch back in like 2017 for these anti-bullying measures they were trying to do to protect their thoughts at that time. And before the thought movement really became a big movement, they used him as a guinea pig to test certain shit out. And in a lot of ways, they gave him immunity. You know what I'm saying? That was his reward. But it wore off. Soon, I mean, at the end of the day, it wore off. It wasn't going to last forever. Just like when he went on to Machinima, he thought he was going to be with Machinima forever. As long as he was going to be online, he thought he was going to be with Machinima. After 6 years, they booted his ass. They should have done it before that. One could argue that maybe they thought about doing it. They might have booted him sooner. But then DSP wants to throw out the argument to you that, oh, well, I had other options. I didn't have to stay on Machinima. I could have gone to other MCNs, but they weren't going to pay me as much as Twitch. Or sorry, as much as Machinima was. Well, and this is how short-sighted he is. Sometimes maybe you should take a pay cut and go somewhere else that might give you more exposure so you can get yourself in a better position to make more money in the long run. See, he would rather stay stagnant. Because he doesn't understand. He really doesn't. He doesn't understand the difference between consistency or being consistent and being stagnant. He doesn't understand. He really doesn't get the difference. Because every little bit of change scares him to death. It really, really does. And if he would rather just coast, if you will, than taking a risk and moving up, or possibly moving up, because he's too scared of failing and everybody's going to make fun of him. So he would rather just have people constantly hammer him for not making changes that he needs, for not making the changes that he needs, for not innovating, right? For just being a dinosaur. He would rather deal with that ridicule for years than take one or two risks and try to do better for himself. Because him failing will hurt his ego, not pride, his ego so much more than the possible benefits by moving up or by taking a risk and doing something else. And then on top of that, he doesn't want to learn anything new. He literally does not want to learn anything new about anything. When I'm recording this idiot just played, was doing WWE 2K, WWE 2K, the new one. And but even before that, this idiot, his OBS ends up fucking up on him. Matter of fact, it's even funnier. Let me paint the scenario. This idiot's on his pre-stream podcast, snorting away at whatever. And he says that, oh, we're getting to the point where maybe we should be looking at getting a new PC because now I have some downtime and I don't want to mess up with any of my settings or anything like that. Someone told him about something in OBS that he could do. And he said, oh, well, that's with the new OBS. I have the old one. And the reason why the way he explains it, He's using the an older version of OBS because he doesn't want any of his settings to be changed. Despite the fact that he needs to change his settings in OBS because they're terrible. Now, at the same time, this idiot is sitting here bragging about, oh, well, look at the new fonts, colors that I have on here. Look at the new layout here. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm changing up. I'm giving a fresh coat of paint, if you will, to the scenario. And he says that someone else had to make the font or had to make the outline or the overlay for him. But the thing with his fonts on his, like the leaderboards, if you will, like the tip board and all that's in OBS. He can do that on his own. And to be honest with you, he's running a gradients on the color. That's why it's like partially blue and then it has like a slightly white to it or whatever. All he's doing is changing one color to get that. That's it. And someone didn't send that to him. That's something that he did on his own. The background or the backdrop, that's done in OBS too. That second layer, you could say that someone would have done it, but I think he can do that too. I think he can add like if he messes with the opacity of it, he can change the visibility of it, if you will. It's really basic shit. Like, it's super basic shit. Like this, like someone explained that to me in OBS in like, I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes, and that was a couple years ago. So he's acting like this shit is all brand new, and he had to get someone else to go ahead and work on it, when in actuality, that right there can come from just a few minutes of tinkering with OBS. And he's going to have to he's going to have to update OBS eventually anyway. But the point being is he uses that as his excuse. And then literally in the next snort, his mic goes out. Because he doesn't update the drivers on the microphone either. He doesn't update the drivers on anything. And he refuses to do so. That's why he's pushing for this new PC so goddamn bad. Because he can just go ahead, pull this new PC. I think he's going for a pre-build because he's too stupid to build one. He's going to pull that right out the box, connect it, and hope that it all works out. Not realizing that, idiot, you're going to have to download all those programs. You're going to still have to learn how all those programs work. What's that, Windows 11? You're going to have to learn how to use that. And this is the same idiot who refuses to learn how to use Windows 10, even though I think his laptop runs Windows 10. Now I think about it, given how recently he got that laptop, he could probably update that to Windows 11 right now. I would think. Because he was gifted that laptop only within the last year. So it should be new enough to run Windows 11, I would think. I don't know, I'll think on that. But he's just not willing to learn anything. He's not willing to do anything. And if you're not willing to take risks, because he has no options. He has absolutely no options. So if you don't have any options, you have to take a risk. Period. And DSP has never been good at that, and that's why he fell behind. DSP has always gotten in his own way. He'll always be in his own way, I should say. Nothing will ever change that.
YouTube, they couldn't have implemented improvements to make it more like Twitch. They should have absolutely improved the chat experience and the moderating experience. They absolutely should have gifted memberships by now. There's no excuse for this besides they're just so slow. They focus on things way out here, and they ignore the core functions of the site right here.
No, that's not the core function. Streaming is not a priority for YouTube. YouTube is trying to implement it, just like they're willing to implement shorts to kind of give people a reason, have TikTokers come over, but it's not a priority. Give me a second. YouTube's main functionality, their main business plan is to keep you on the platform as long as possible. If videos aren't enough, then live streaming is a way of doing it. If you need something to keep you busy in between live streams, YouTube Shorts are there. Things like that. These are some of the fundamental reasons. Now, if you look at, just for excuse me, I still got a cold. If you look at the functionality of the gifted memberships, right? Because at this time in our timeline, gifted memberships have been implemented to those who put a request in for it. On top of those, if you're big enough, like a Dr. Disrespect, for example, like he got them right away. Tim the Tatman did, guys like that. Whether they put in a request or not, I'm not sure. Maybe their agents did it, whatever. But if you want to get gifted subs or gifted memberships, you can fill out a form, and if you're chosen, then you can be part of this beta. That's all it is. It's a beta. They're just testing it, just like they did with Super Things. But DSP is sitting here being like, oh, he wants gifted memberships to be implemented right away, so he can have a bunch of gifted memberships dumped onto him. The problem is, YouTube has structured it, or they're right now, it's structured in such a way that they want people who are interacting with your channel for long periods of time to be the recipient, to receive or be recipients of those subs, of those gifted memberships, I should say. With that being said, sock accounts aren't going to help him. And because of the 24-hour bullshit that he has on his chat and how often he purges his chat, he doesn't have the community needed to run things the way he wants to run them. On Twitch, they don't care. Twitch is set up in such a way where you can just dump money at people mindlessly, and so be it. Even though I'm being told that that they've made tweaks on that, and like the way money on Twitch is being cut up differently too. We can speak on that later. But you know what I mean. Twitch is set up to where it is a bit more liberal, if you will, on how you can spend your money over there. On YouTube, it's not just a matter of wanting your money; they want your time. They want your time on the platform, and they want you there as often as possible. And all of the ways that they're implementing these Twitch-like incentives or initiatives, if you will, is not cohesive or conducive to something that DSP does. His community is not built like that because it's not a community. It's a cult-like following. They're not going to be able to bring new people in and make them feel welcomed. They're not going to be able to stand together because it's literally the Gouty Gestapo. They rat on each other all the time. That's all they are. They're just rats. They're just dirty, filthy rats over there. His community is not... That whole thing over there is not set up to allow him to profit the way he wants to profit. And that's his fault. Excuse me. That's his fault. That's nobody else's. That's his fault. That's the way he had it structured on Twitch, and that's the way that came across as profitable to him, and that's the way he wanted it. He wanted... The only interaction that DSP wanted was giving him money or giving him praise. Other than that, you guys can kind of fight amongst yourselves, if you will. As long as he's entertained by the chat, as long as the chat is there to handhold him, that's all he cares about. The chat is not there for real interaction. It's there to keep him entertained and to handhold him through games. And to praise him. That's it. Moral support, if you will. That's it. It has no real functionality to him besides it. It's too much of a chore. And that's why the games have suffered, like his playthroughs, I should say, have suffered since he got back on Twitch. It's literally his concept of what an interactive streamer is completely off fucking kilter. It's completely just out of fucking left field and shit. And in a lot of ways, I think that's what he wanted. That's why he's so desperate to try to get the pre-stream podcast over. And that's why he's so desperate to get this DSP React thing over. Because he's ready to stop playing games, so to speak. He's ready to drop games. He'll probably continue to talk about gaming, but he doesn't want to actually do it anymore. It's not profitable, and it's not... I think he's finally come to the realization that he's never going to hold sway to anybody in the gaming community, in the gaming sphere, on gaming Twitter, in the gaming community on YouTube or Twitch. He'll never have a voice that anybody gives a fuck about. He never really did. Just because you were there first, or you were one of the first people, I should say, we'll give him that. Just because you were one of the first people there and you were one of the loudest and most belligerent doesn't make you anything, to be honest with you. It just makes you loud and belligerent. You were just one of the loudest at the time because there were so few people. But once people came in with more talent, right? And they weren't so reliant on people being invested in them or in their personalities and being actually invested in the content. DSP lost. And he was always destined to lose that way. Streaming is no different. He is not someone who's personable. He's not approachable. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't follow any sports. He doesn't really openly come out and talk about wrestling because he's scared he's going to get put into a situation where he's going to get exposed. He doesn't read anything. He doesn't have any real thoughts about anything any which way. Take anything that he's ever said on the pre-stream or the pre-stream podcast at any given time and then go on Twitter and you can almost find where he's taken someone else's point from post to post or from thread to thread with a tweak here or a tweak there. Period. Or if something is just overwhelmingly positive, he'll want to go against the grain and have something negative to say about it. And he's always held that. And no one cares. No one cares. You're not some fucking maverick. You're not a rebel. You know what I'm saying? You were able to fucking fleece those kids with that bullshit back in like 2008, 2009, 2010, or whatever. But no one cares about that now. All of those people have grown up. The dent heads that you have over there are going to listen to you and praise you no matter what you fucking say. And he realizes that. He realizes that the people who follow DSP right now, essentially, if they're not trying to get over on him like Super Blind Man, they're going to just go ahead and mindlessly go ahead and say, yeah, Phil, you're right. You know, yeah, DSP, you're great. No matter what he says. They don't care. They don't care. As long as they can keep propping him up, which is what he's conditioned them to do, they don't give a shit about nothing else. And that right there is not conducive. It's not useful. It's not helpful. It's dragging him down because he allowed it to. Because he didn't invest in his community, right? Because he didn't try to elevate his community and promote free thought and free speech. That's why it's a cult. That's exactly why it's a cult. That's why it's the Gouty right, if you will. That's why it's the alt Gout, if you will. They all have to stay in lockstep because that's all they know. That's all they know. And even the ones that are smart enough to get out for at least for a little while, they end up going back because they don't know how to start over or get back into a community or whatever. Let me give you another example real quick and we'll continue to move on. Think about the situation with Anonymous. Let's use that for example without getting into all the details of that. The reason why he was able to get in good with, if you will, with the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics is because they knew him, for the most part, I should say, at least to a point. They knew enough about him that he felt comfortable that they would accept him the way he is. He didn't have to try to put on a front or a facade per se. He could just slide right in. And it wasn't until all that other shit came out later is when people saw him for what he really was. Because if you look at it right before the ball really dropped on Anonymous, he basically boasted that people were going to defend him, that people saw value in keeping him around, and he wasn't in any real threat or any real danger or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Until the other foot dropped, and then people really saw that degenerate shit, and he slowly walked away. And I don't even think he really walked away. I just think he's quiet right now. He's probably still around lurking because I think they had said that he has a couple sock or alt accounts. So he hasn't really gone anywhere just yet. And then who knows what type of ammunition that dude has? You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? I mean, I assume he was in everybody's Discord. So, and he was probably in a few Twitter private chats or whatever, or DM conversations or whatever. So who knows what information he has on other people? Who knows? And that's if he does or if he don't. So it's like that. You know what I'm saying? Other than trying to come over to the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics every once in a while, they can't go anywhere else and do anything else really. They really can't. They're regimented. They're conditioned. The conditioning, I should say, or the pignosis, if you will, the hold is too strong, and they can't break it. That's why they almost always come back. which is, it's sad, but it's the reality.
Who make a living on YouTube, their bread and butter is being able to daily live stream and put out content. That should be the focus of YouTube. Not, oh, YouTube shorts that want to copy TikTok over here and some fucking bullshit over here, esoteric thing that has nothing to do with anything. Fuck all of your bullshit. They really have bad management. It's just what it is. It's bad leadership and bad management. They're always off, spread out, doing crap instead of focusing on the core that would make the site more successful. Why are they constantly recruiting people from Twitch to YouTube, and then they don't improve the YouTube streaming experience? It doesn't make any sense. You're bringing more people to a service that's inferior, and you're not improving it. Why? What's the end game plan?
Why don't you ask the people who are making the jump over? If those people are leaving, they're leaving for a reason. It wasn't like they were it's not like those people who are jumping from Twitch to YouTube, they were forced out like Dr. Disrespect was. That's a completely different scenario. Those people are leaving for a reason. And if you actually watched any of these streamers, Phil, you would kind of know. Or at least watch The Sky's Toast. Because he breaks it down a lot. Actually, he just went over some stuff that was YouTube and Twitch related as it pertains to partnerships. We're going to go over that in a video soon. Or I'll at least bring up snippets of it. Because it's a good watch. It was on a live stream, I should say. And he brought up some fantastic fucking points about shit. And This Guy's Toast don't give a shit either which way. So that's why he don't mind dropping it. He feels that the more people know, the better they can do. And since DSP does not believe in the concept of knowledge is power, that's the reason why he doesn't want to learn anything, is the reason why he's stuck where he's at and everybody else can move the way they move. But going back to my original point, why did those other people make that move? They could have stayed over there on Twitch, but I mean, what was the benefit? If you look at like someone like was it Asmon Gold or whatever? I think he's still over there, but he talks about when his contract renewal, when his new contract was coming up, they weren't offering him nearly as much money as he felt that he was worth. On top of that, it was actually kind of less than what his last contract negotiation was, if I remember correctly. Something along those lines. It definitely wasn't. He felt like it wasn't great, certainly. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, though, too, I mean, how many more years does he have left in him doing what he's doing? Coming over here on YouTube is probably going to work out for him anyway. If you ever seen some of his reaction stuff, because people like do edits for his streams when he does reaction stuff, those things pull in hundreds of thousands of views, easy. And if he's getting a piece of that, then who's to say anything about anything? Just like the Dr. Disrespect clip channels. I mean, shit. Look at Tim the Tatman. He has his own clip channel, which brings in buku views. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of ways of making money over here. And yet again, these are people who aren't totally reliant on ad revenue. They have other options. And DSP doesn't see that. He's yet again still level 1, crying, complaining about all these small little gimmicks, if you will. I don't mean to call them gimmicks, but these small little initiatives, they're gimmicks right now, but they could be viable initiatives later on that are coming out. And he's sitting here fighting and scraping for that while everybody else is already elevated. Everybody else is doing actual business. And DSP is not. Shit, you got Tim the Tatman, who was not only promoting the new WWE game, but he owns like a percentage of some team. I think it's Complexity. He owns like some portion of some team, so he's flying out doing all this shit. And then all the sponsorship deals on top of that. Take Z Laner, for example, who has a bunch of different sponsorships. Plus, he's affiliated with, not FaZe. I'm glad he's not fucking affiliated with FaZe. FaZe went ahead and has been basically grabbing everybody for years. Optic. He's over there with Optic. Z Laner is. He's over there making moves on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people out here that are really doing business, or doing big business on YouTube without Twitch and without worrying about ad revenue. DSP is still stuck in 2010 crying and complaining about the same shit he used to cry and complain about back in the day, over a decade ago. Still crying about the same bullshit because he's never, he doesn't want to learn. He doesn't want to expand. Just the same, just crying about the same bullshit over and over and over again. And then he's supposed to be a businessman, right? He's a business owner, right? He runs his own business. Why the fuck is he so reliant on a platform to get shit done? Let's reword that. If DSP runs his own business, why does he depend on the next man or woman to make a living? If he runs his own business, how does that make sense? How does that make any sense? And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, he has no savings. He doesn't own any stock or bonds or anything. He has no investments, I should say. And he has no future prospects, nor does he have any future plans. How is that a business? And how the fuck is that successful? And how the fuck is that anything even remotely worth having pride in? How does that make sense? When someone can make sense of that, let me know.
It doesn't seem like there is one. So yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just gonna ignore what you said. Stupid. Skis TV says, I feel like every time I tune into a Twitch stream or even watch a popular highlight, there ends up being a mention of the terms of service and a fear of violating it. Yeah? You really? Seriously? It's over there. It was like, wow, if I even get angry at a game, maybe someone will flag it and say that I said or did something I didn't do. It's ridiculous over there how bad it got. Like, what the fuck?
That's not true, because Phil said that you can report him all you want and no one's ever going to pay attention to it. Nothing will happen if you report him for every little thing. This is when he still had a Twitch partner, though, by the way. So keep that in mind.
People just want to stream and have fun and be themselves. And you can't do that on Twitch. You know? I tried so hard over there to abide by the rules and never make a mistake. God forbid that I slip and say a risque word every once in a while, right? Because as you guys know...
Wait, I thought he never said anything hateful, or he never said anything offensive on his channel whatsoever. But now, every once in a while, he was saying something risque, or something that was out of line, or something that could have possibly been offensive. He didn't actually say the word offensive. But you know what I mean. He's already alluding to it. So how did we go from, I never did anything wrong, to every once in a while, I may have stumbled. I may have faltered. I'm human, dude. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
For constantly yelling out risque words. Oh my God, right? Hateful speech, constantly. I'm Mr. Hateful Speech. Everyone knows that. What are you talking about? How the fuck can you say you ran an investigation and you found that I constantly use hateful speech and you're getting me out of your partner program because of it? You didn't watch my content.
Flashback.
Okay, real quick. So here's the thing. We'll talk about this further in another video. But here's the bullshit that he's really mad about on Twitch. He's mad that he didn't get a second chance. See, DSP, as you guys know, if you don't know, then you just don't care to know, and that's not your fault. If you're just, if you only casually deal with this fucking Gouty sphere bullshit, then just that. You know what I'm saying? If you care, if you know, it's because you care to know. When DSP has an apology fetish, very much so, and he revels in it, if you will. He looks daily for people in his email or on his chat to come to him and apologize for some perceived slight that they may or may not have done, and having to grovel to him so they can come back into his chat. It makes him believe that he's important. Because if he wasn't important, why would these people come back and apologize for something? But with that being said, he just recently said that he gets emails all the time about people saying that, hey, I think I got banned for something and I didn't do anything, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, oh, I unban people all the time because, people mess up. I wonder if that shit's not actually on purpose. I wonder if he doesn't ban certain names that he hasn't seen in a while, right? Or who are not regularly participating in his chat, just to see if they'll reach out to him and get unbanned. Just to know that they're still there. I wonder if that's not something he's doing on purpose. But we'll save that for another time. What DSP does is, but he has an apology fetish. What DSP will do is, if he gets in trouble with Twitch, with Twitter, any of these things, he wants to know a- absolutely brass tacked what he did wrong, right? And then instead of getting a punishment for it, right, or having to serve some type of crime for the or punishment for the crime that he's committed, right? He wants a slap on the wrist. Okay, I didn't know. I was ignorant to the fact that I couldn't do that, or I couldn't say that, or no one ever told me, or whatever lame excuse he wants to come up. Like a child would. And you can't say it's lame for kids because they're kids. They really don't know better. They're just learning. DSP very much acts like a child. You can see it in his email exchanges that he has with people. It sounds autistic as shit, but certainly like a child. He wants to know exactly what the situation is that he's being accused of. And instead of getting a punishment, he wants to have a slap on the wrist. Okay, I didn't know that. I'll never do it again. You know, can I have all my privileges back? Or please don't take any of my privileges away. And then he can just move along and basically push the narrative that, oh, I talked to them. They said, oh, well, we did, this is what you did. But, I don't think anybody ever told you that, or maybe you weren't aware of that. So we'll just give you a slap on the wrist and just make sure you don't do it again. And then he just keeps it moving so he can still stay face, which is essentially all that DSP ever really cares about anyway, is public perception. As long as it looks like he's coming out on top, he doesn't give a shit about anything else. The problem was with Twitch is that no one was willing to sit there and hold him through his situation. They were like, hey, we're catching you on hateful speech. You've been doing it for a long ass time. We're demonetizing you. We're not kicking you off of our platform, because then Phil's really going to go into full victim mode if that happened. You're demonetized. You can either apply for affiliate in 6 months, or you can apply for your partnership in a year. End of story. Thank you, fuck you, bye. And that was that. And what DSP wanted, just like he did with Machinima, just like he did with Curse, and that just like what he did with Blip TV, is he wanted to be able to talk to someone directly and be able to spew out his piggy propaganda and hope that someone's going to be sympathetic enough to say, okay, well, we'll let you slide with a warning or whatever and go back to whatever the fuck it is that you're doing. Because he's always been given that. He's always feinted ignorance, right? Or I didn't know, or that wasn't fully explained to me, or I was just defending myself, and okay, well, I promise not to do it again, so please don't take my privileges from me. And then he went right back to it. And then he can go right back to it. Staying face and not suffering any real repercussions. Unless he has to take like a 24 or 72-hour ban, or suspension, I should say. Then that's a little different. But other than that, he still was able to essentially stay face. That's what he wanted from Twitch, and Twitch wasn't willing to give that to him. Because Twitch don't have time for that. He's not a priority. They probably looked and saw, well, he doesn't have a partnership manager, so why the fuck does he even have a partnership? If we're not invested enough in him to give him partnership status, or sorry, to have a partnership manager, what the fuck does he need partnership status for? And in truth, I've been thinking about this for a little while. Not too long, but long enough. I'm actually surprised they didn't just bump him down to affiliate, which DSP would have been fine with affiliate anyway. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because then he would have gone ahead and spun some bullshit story about how, oh, well, being a fucking managed partner doesn't mean shit anyway. I haven't had a partner manager in a long time, and so that doesn't matter. And I still get some of the privileges that, the partnership guys get, so who gives a fuck? And oh, well, I know there's a slight cut, or there may be or if there is a slight difference between the financial cut between between an affiliate or a partner. Well, it doesn't matter, because essentially we all get the same shit anyway, right? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is literally word for word the same spiel that he threw out when he lost his partnership with Machinima and he went to Curse. He literally said, oh, it doesn't matter if you're a partner manager, if you're a partner with an MCN anymore, because everybody gets the same ads across the board. Everybody has the same CPM, I think is what it's called, which is bullshit. What the ads that DSP gets on his video, and the amount of money he gets from those ads, and the ads that someone like Pokimane gets, or Dr. Disrespect gets, or Tim the Tatman, or PewDiePie, or whatever, is completely fucking different. It is completely different. But he tried to spin it after he lost his partnership with Machinima that no, everybody gets the same amount across the board, which is bullshit. There will always be tiers to every type of situation, and there's always going to be someone to get preferential treatment because those people who are successful are going to expect to be rewarded for being successful. And guess what? There will be people who will cut them in or give them those extra rewards for being successful because at the end of the day, they're going to profit off of it anyway. Whatever they're giving up is going to be pittance compared to what they're going to make off of them anyway. So why not? The more that, let's reword this. The more that it appears that a company or an entity gives to their employees, the more that employee feels that they're being valued. Period. It's just part of business psychology. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of business psychology. Like, look at Pokimane, for example, right? She's going to fade out eventually. And when I mean fade out, there's going to be someone that's going to be younger, who's going to be prettier, who's not going to want to make a victim of themselves every fucking 5 minutes, is going to come in and is going to eventually blow her out the water. But that doesn't mean she can't transition into a more business or administrative type of position, right? But eventually she's going to get phased out. Have you, like, you know what I'm saying? Not to be superficial about it, but Pokimane is not a very attractive person. Not just from a look standpoint, but from a personality standpoint. She's not a very nice person. She's perfect for administration, though, but she's not a nice person. And she knows that. And she's been trying to fix that, or she's been trying to cover it up, I should say, for years. And she can't win. And she knows she can't win. She just can't. She can play this victim complex shit all she wants, but it's not getting anywhere. It just kind of really exposes her more than anything. And that's what happens when you depend on being a victim, essentially. It's what happens when you kind of over-victimize yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like when she did that shit against PewDiePie all those years ago. Or, well, when she did that shit against that one guy who was like, I can't remember what he was doing. He was doing like dumb shit with like thumbnails or whatever. It was trolling, basically. And she got butt hurt, and then PewDiePie came into play, and then she put the apology video out because she didn't want to, she didn't want to basically be on the wrong side of PewDiePie because she saw what happened to Alinity. She saw what happened to Alinity when Alinity did her dumb shit. She didn't want that, but she handled the situation bad. And that shit right there stains her to this very day, just like with Alinity. That PewDiePie shit still hangs over her fucking head. And she know it, and she hate it. She hates it, but she got too big for her goddamn britches, and it came back on her. And then she ended up losing her spot, whatever spot that you could even perceive that she had, to be honest with you. I don't think Alinity was ever anything about anything. Just like Amaran is slowly getting phased out of that situation. She's getting older. You know what I'm saying? Like, being a thought has a very, very short shelf life. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you rely on being a thought to be profitable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she can't transition into other shit. I'm just saying that all the work that she has, quote-unquote, allegedly had done, it can only hold up for so long. And you've got a bunch of other... you got a whole new generation of women coming in who realize, hey, being a thought has a very short, shelf life. Maybe I should actually just focus on games or just focus on being entertaining or have just interesting talking points, and maybe that'll carry the day. Maybe that always was going to carry the day. Whatever. That's just my perception to some of that bullshit. Take it for what you will.
These contributions are mandatory. Did you kiss Selena? Who wouldn't? Come on now. 21% of people didn't kiss Selena. What are they, homos? Surprise, cockfag! I got him good. It's gonna pick the shitty ass captain. I don't want this faggot.
Well, the same guy, ain't they?
No.
Goku.
This is the gender ambiguous young fellow. This guy's a fag.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty faggy.
It's my character.
These are brothers. Sun Quan and Sensei are brothers.
Big now,
There we go. Two assholes fucking playing fag tag right there.
Tone sex.
Wow, he's a fag.
Dad passed out a few years back. He's probably still lives with him.
Two idiots. Look, they're playing fag tag over there. Oh, we're fighting. Oh, don't touch me. Oh, I got you. Oh, here, I'll help you up.
I'm telling you, if one day, at the end of, I think Tevin said this a long time ago, if at the end of the DSP story, if it comes out that he's gay, nobody should be surprised. No one should be surprised by any of this shit. Really shouldn't. Because he's real comfortable with his role-playing shit, but he's not comfortable with talking about being, having intimate moments, not necessarily sexual, but having intimate moments with his mom. I mean, sorry, with his wife. God damn it, Phil, you got me saying that bullshit now. Having intimate moments with Kat. Just throwing it out there. But he's okay, though, with talking about shit being rammed up people's ass and his scat fetishes and all that nonsense. That shit comes off of him in the same way that Snorts do. You know what I'm saying? It's part of his nature. He's, you know what I'm saying? He's very, very comfortable with that, and there hasn't been a lot of people who have really challenged his sexuality. Not to say that you have to. You don't, to be honest with you. Believe whatever you want. But if it comes out that that's a situation in the end, I won't be surprised.
I'll touch you again. Oh. Well, that was delightful. I want to watch some faggot insult some homo. You go on YouTube. I want to watch some guy throw around all kinds of insulting slurs constantly. Well, you go to YouTube. You want to watch actual gamers play games? You go to fucking Twitch. By the way, when I said those two, oh my god, he said faggot and homo. Obviously, I'm not prejudiced against homosexuals at all. I'm trying to say that's what you would do. That's the kind of people who go to YouTube at this time. Oh, fuck.
He's even bad at walking shit back. Oh my god. That aged well.
I can't, dude, they're still there. Two fucking faggots. Seriously. Two little pussy bitches sitting there. Meh. We're not gonna play. We're just gonna sit in one fucking spot.
What are you two homos doing?
And you could try to say that, oh, well, this is just a sign of the times. That's what he used to be able to get away with back in the day. That's what a lot of people used to kind of say back in the day or whatever, whatever. Well, you saw how those people changed, right? Those people grew up. You know what I'm saying? Those people got a bit more creative, if you will, with their insults or whatever, whether hateful or not. DSP didn't. Which goes back to the concept of changing in general. He's never been good at it. He resists it at every fucking notion. At every chance that he can. Because change scares him. It makes it, in his mind, right? And this is going to sound really fucking pathetic, because it is pathetic. In his mind, he thinks, oh, I've built myself up being able to be a certain type of way for so long. And now the system or society or whatever is taking that away from me and forcing me to reinvent myself and forcing me to put in all this work. Well, here's the thing. If you look at it from that notion, or from that angle, if you will, it kind of makes you sound fake. It kind of makes it sound like you're just trying to be cool. And that's not really how you are. You know what I'm saying? That's not really what you believe in or whatever. You just say things like that to get over, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes you sound like a poser. Or a fake or a fraud or whatever the case may be. But then again, going back to his scat fetish and his obsession, really, with things being, you know, shoved up his ass or shoved up other people's asses or whatever, it kind of really comes across like that's what you're into. Since no one actually has a record, as far as I know, of what he was watching during his incident, I guess we'll never know.
Oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Yeah, Spartan Hespro says all ball shots. Well, I was shooting a chick, so unless it was, you know, a tranny or something. Trying to think of a blonde guy with comb back hair. I don't know. And Japanese tranny. Unless that's not supposed to be a tranny. It's supposed to actually be a roided chick. I have no idea. Man, I'm saved. With you guys by my side, we're invincible. Let's secure this guy together.
Watch it. Forgive me, sir. I didn't mean nothing.
I kicked two of them and two of them in the nuts.
I'll poke your eye out if you do that.
Kick right in the nuts. I love it. You kick the tranny right in the nuts. These are real women. Nuts! Yes, nut shot. One more. Nut shot. Oh, I just punched him right in the balls. Nice. What? Are you trying to ruin my summer of love? Isn't that hair on your chin? Ah! I missed a spot! Are you, There goes my chance! I was so close to snagging myself a little boy toy! Ah! He's a she! It's a chick with a dick! It's a tranny! Captain Winky's tucked in between those cheeks! I guess you fellas are quite ready for a woman like me. If you decide you want to try something a little spicier, you know where to find me. Wow. We almost got a tranny.
This sucks. We're 0 for 3.
They won't let me in. Something's going on. Let me go talk to this freaking chick again, or the tranny again, because it's not working. Haruka, don't you know Yoko is a world famous stylist with his hairstyle? Wait a minute, with his hairstyle and makeup techniques, it's a tranny. Oh God, it's a tranny. I didn't know that. I thought it was actually a woman. No, it's a tranny. Oh my God. Great. Caitlyn Jenner. Alright, well. We're gonna try to get her to style me. She says, I don't do stylist work anymore. And the way this potato face could turn out to be a diamond in the rough. Wow. Money, money. Oh, money, money. Yeah, yeah.
Now, Phil said that, didn't he say, I think he was on Twitch when he said that, or maybe he was on YouTube, where he said that, like, it was, his streams are like a safe... That's funny just saying it. That, didn't Phil say that, like, his streams are a safe place, like, his community... Sorry, it's just funny. His community is a safe place for the LGBTQ community and shit? He said that, right? You know what I'm saying? He says that, you know, they can find a friend in him or whatever, an ally or whatever bullshit. Wow. Well, you see what pigs can do.
That I showed you in my house, immediately shitheads would say, Phil spent this on this, and he did this on this, and he did this. I can't believe he's spending money on this, and this, that. It's so fucking retardedly stupid and messed up what these people do. It's just, it's to the point of insane obsession. It was fucking retardedly stupid. Oh, man. Party, look, it was in my party. How do I avoid this? How do you avoid someone joining your party when it's set to fucking private? Are they retardedly, idiotically stupid? You're a game developer selling a AAA game, and you can't figure out that when you set apart the party to private, someone shouldn't be able to fucking join it. They're that stupid. That's because you and I are normal. We would know that. This guy, again, this is the kind of person that does hurtful things to me and Kat. They're fucked up in the head. He actually thought that this was something to be proud of. That he had done this. When most of us are like, this guy's a fucking no-load mentally ill retard. Like, what's he doing? What? Why on earth would you think that something like that was funny? Right? Why is it closing?
Keep in mind, this is from the same ass clown that actually dedicated, he created and dedicated a website to shitting on West Coast players back in his FGC days, but has no clue why the FGC doesn't like him, why no one wants to really associate with him, and why he's looked at as a problematic, a toxic, or a controversial figure. But had a whole website dedicated to shitting on West Coast players simply because they were better than him. He wasn't standing up for the East Coast. DSP's never been a pillar for the East Coast. He's barely been a pillar for Connecticut. But he dedicated an entire website to shitting on onto West Coast players weekly. Essentially mad because they had all the advantages that he didn't. They had good arcades, even though the East Coast has always had decent arcades, to my understanding at least. He had, but they had SRK, or SureYouCan.com, if you will. They had, at the time, they had some of the biggest tournaments on the West Coast, not just Evo. They had some really prominent majors, if you will, over there. And they had a pretty large and pretty talented base as it pertains to FGC players. Even though, truth be told, it's kind of like in basketball where you have a lot of the flashier players on the East Coast and you have a lot more of the technically sound players on the West Coast. And the Midwest kind of has a combination of both, give or take, depending on how you look at it. But you could say the FGC was like that too. There was a lot of really flashy guys on the East Coast, man. And could bring the hype and could bring the excitement. And then you had the West Coast that had a lot of very technically sound players. And then you had the Midwest that had a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? DSP obviously is not flashy. He was just a walking ATM. You know what I'm saying? His only claim to fame is in a port that doesn't mean jack shit to anybody in a game that really wasn't as relevant as he wants to make it seem. When you really look at Super Turbo back at that time, it didn't hold the prominence that I think most people like to think of or want to reminisce about. You have a lot of old heads who look at it and it's like it was really more of a niche type game to some degree or to some point. It may have not have, there were other games that were really coming through and taking up the spot. You know what I'm saying? Especially, Marvel 2, CVS 2, Third Strike, and then, like I said, Super Turbo. But Super Turbo was at the bottom end of that, I think. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, after a while, it got reduced to a side tournament. And you could say, oh, well, didn't Marvel 2 eventually get reduced to that as well? Well, yeah, certainly. Especially after, Sanford Kelly became the fourth emperor, which was the last big Marvel 2 tournament. Then it kind of it fell into a side game because they wanted to push Marvel 3. But so yeah, I guess every game has its rise and fall sooner than later. But Super Turbo carried the day for an extremely long time. But eventually it was going to have to fade and fall. You know what I'm saying? You could say that for Street Fighter as a whole, if you really think about it. Everything has its moment, everything has its time, and then it eventually fizzles out. And I think DSP because he invested so much time into it, he wanted to get his piece and try to stamp himself into FGC history through Super Turbo because it was the only thing that he really could. He was terrible at Third Strike. Never heard anything about him playing CVS 2, so let's not even worry about that. Marvel 2, he was a joke. You know what I'm saying? Literally a walking ATM. He's a walking ATM and everything, but definitely Marvel 2. The way they passed him around was disgraceful. What else does he have? He doesn't play any other games. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even play any other games. That trophy from that Tekken trophy from the mall, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's just a participation trophy just like anything else. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean shit. How many people showed up to that tournament? You know what I mean? How many people actually knew what they were doing? When did the game come out, and how much time actually passed between the game coming out and then the tournament? That's not pushing back. That's not me pushing the goalpost back. That's just me asking questions. I want to have an idea of what the circumstances were. Did DSP mash the same combo over and over again to a bunch of people who didn't really know what they were doing? Just like back when he discovered Street Fighter 2, and he's sitting there mashing the same button over and over and over again, and allegedly he's beating everybody, being this little kid, in a game that just came out and no one really knew what they were doing. He was taking advantage of a situation. And that's if it even happened the way he said it did. What are you going to do?
Why would I want it to close? Are they fucking retarded? Why would I want this to close?
End of flashback.
How the fuck can you say you ran an investigation and you found that I constantly use hateful speech and you're getting me out of your partner program because of it? You didn't watch my content. You lied. You literally didn't watch my content. What happened is people mass flagged my content with lies and you didn't bother to investigate it. You just removed me because you're fucking lazy and unprofessional. And
now, that right there, that's also a rehash snort, if you will, from Blip TV. When he got booted off of Blip TV for his stolen Howard Stern stick or joke or whatever, or bit, that's really the proper term for it, his Howard Stern bit that he stole. And when he got reported for it, he said, oh, Blip didn't actually remove me because of what I said. They removed him because all these people had flagged him. So it's because other people brought attention to it and reported it to Blip is the reason why he got bumped off. Not coming to the realization that, hey, you did that. You still, at the end of the day, you still did it. And then he tried to strong arm Blip into basically letting him back on, saying, hey, I got 100,000 followers on YouTube. They would be pretty disappointed if I got kicked off of your platform. You may want to reconsider before, making any conclusions. You may want to reach back out to me and see if we can try to settle it. And this dumbass actually thought that was going to work. He literally thought with his little 100,000 dent heads on fucking YouTube that he could go ahead and bully Blip into taking him back. That's how much of a fucking tard that he was. Well, he still is, but that he was. And they looked at that shit like, yeah, we don't give a fuck. Good luck with that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch you can actually find that. It's the Blip saga. I'm trying to think, because the guy changed his name now. He changed the channel name, I should say. Unless he changed it back. But you can find it. Just put in DSP Blip saga and it'll come up. And big ups to that dude. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when he's literally reading the letter that they sent him, because the video is supposed to be his response back to Blip, and he's reading the conversation that they're having through the email correspondence, and he's literally trying to intimidate Blip into taking him back. And I would assume he's done that with all of them, while simultaneously begging and also victimizing himself into, please take me back. It's all these people who hate me, and it's not necessarily my fault. And yeah, I said the joke, but I stole it from Howard Stern, right? So you can't really, blame me for that. It was Howard Stern's bit. I just stole it. I didn't originate it, so he should take the blame somehow and not me. Like, this right here is just the same rehashing. It's the same bullshit. Just like when he got bumped off of Machinima. Well, when he got bumped off of Curse. When he got bumped off of Curse, this really kind of falls in line with that. That, the trolls kept reporting me and whatnot, and it's because of the trolls that they had to dedicate... I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just funny. The story with with Curse, real fast. We'll delve into this another time. The story with Curse was it was a mutual break. It was all amicable, right? But it was a mutual break. And the reason why, I'm sorry, excuse me. Oh my God, the reason why Curse had to let him go is because he was getting falsely reported hundreds of times a day, every day. So much so, in fact, that Curse had to dedicate one person just to go through and reject all of the false reports that was being placed on DSP every day. Every day, they had one person was dedicated to just basically hitting reject on each and every report that DSP had ever been given, if you will, while he was on the platform. If that is true, It's a pretty big if. If that is true, then that just shows how blatantly irresponsible Curse was. Because if they had actually looked at those reports, if they really did, they would have booted him off a long time ago. They wouldn't have held it on to him for, what was it, 16 months, 18 months, whatever it was. They'd have booted him way beforehand. You know what I'm saying? If that was true. If what he says is true, and it's not, but let's go along with it, then they should have booted him a long time ago. And DSP was in talks with Curse for the longest time, trying to convince them to not let him get kicked off. This ass clown even said, he had the nerve to say, hey, I understand that you have this one person that has to deal with all these reports, right? Why don't you just hand wave all those reports away? You can have that person be delegated to doing something else and just ignore it. Just ignore all those reports against me, because it's obviously costing you a lot of problems. It's affecting me. So why don't we just go ahead and ignore it? And then Curse said, well, no, we definitely can't do that, because if you actually do something wrong, we could be held liable for it. And I don't think Phil is even smart enough to realize that by him suggesting that, it gave them, I think it only justified their reasoning to get rid of him. He's a liability. He is a liability. Whether the reports are fake or not, to sit there and ask a company to sit there and say, just ignore it and let me go. You know what I'm saying? Just give me amnesty or full immunity, if you will, and just let me go, is irresponsible as shit. And it just goes to show that DSP is a parasite, and he'll do whatever he can to keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Or keep existing, if you will. Not even moving, just keep existing. So, and I'm sure that right there raised some red alarms, if you will, or it definitely, red flags is what I meant to say. It probably raised some red flags for Curse, being like, whoa, that's not something anybody who has any common sense would say. Yeah, we should probably just cut our losses. And let's just do it now before this shit really becomes a problem. So keep that in mind as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, his history with these MCNs and these different companies, go back and watch it for yourself, and you'll see the fuckery. You'll see the nonsense. There's a reason why people and businesses don't want to be associated with him. He's a problem.
The law when you violated the terms of the contract I signed with you. But they get away with it. And that's the sad fact, is they can get away with it because they're big. Yeah, they removed me from the partnership program, claiming that I was using hateful speech or hateful slurs. Now I can't even remember. I'd have to go back and find the email from a year ago. It was either hateful speech or hateful slurs. Oh, that's constant. That's just everything I always do. Constantly using them, right? Like, what are you talking about? I was streaming on Twitch for 5 years, pretty much full time. I think it was like 4.5. You probably could have counted on one hand the amount of times I slipped and said something that I shouldn't have said, right? 5 years of full-time streaming, and I made like 3 mistakes that I apologize for. Oh, ban him from the program. Fuck you. Like, what a shit business. Money, yeah, yeah. Money, oh, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Typically helps me more than anything.
I swore that the ending used to be longer. Sorry. I don't know. It is what it is. All right, so big ups to Hate Army Watch. Holy shit, Phil. Holy shit. So I got so much stuff to go over. Well, first off, I need to get back to the Snort report in general. These are just going to be some tune-ups to lead me back to it. But DSP wants 450. He wants 450 members to react to the Evil AJ or the John Rambo thing. I honestly don't think he should even react to the John Rambo thing in Howard podcast. He's certainly not over it, and he's not ready to confront it publicly. You're going to just watch that man break down. So I don't think he should even bother doing that. There's a lot to go over. There's a lot to go over. But the next one is going to be about him wanting to go back, celebrate him being off of Twitch for a year, like he's been somehow liberated or some shit. I don't know. Like he ain't sat there and been released from slavery or some kind of nonsense or whatever. I mean, he's definitely a serf, but it's not that serious. Either way. All right. Give me a second to straighten up. We'll reconvene for final thoughts, and I'll let you guys go. Holy shit. Let's see here. What should we play? I'm sorry. Let's go with what we started with. Oh boy. And don't forget that, you know what I'm saying, SnortBucks coffee is still in full effect. It's never going to change and whatnot. The best beverage company. Big ups to Chio. And, let's, final thoughts. What an idiot. What an absolute idiot. Here's the thing. Just because they didn't hit him for the hard R, right? Or for the N-word or whatever, does not mean that there wasn't an accumulation of other shit that he had said over the years that they finally did hit him for. The fact that this dude has no self-awareness, he lacks common sense, he lacks any real decency, right? Kind of only proves it. Why would you want to reward someone who's a shithead, not only to his own audience, not only to the platform that he is on, or that he's supposed to be representing as a partner, yeah? He's stagnant. He's not. Twitch does not see DSP in their 10-year plan. Let's call a spade a spade. What they did was business. Jesus Christ, they have kicked people off their site for less. They didn't kick DSP off of Twitch. He could have still stayed on Twitch and collected donations. He did, actually. He was on Twitch until March 14th. You know what I'm saying? He got demonetized April 20th or 21st of 2021. He didn't. He left the platform itself in March, or no, in May. Sorry, in May. He got deplatformed in April, or he got demonetized in April, and then he left in May to come back to YouTube. His account is still there. He can still stream on that site. Matter of fact, he still goes to his site periodically, or he goes to his Twitch page to see if anybody leaves comments on his streams that he doesn't like and deletes them. Well, what the fuck would he do that for if Twitch is a terrible business and shit? Matter of fact, let me go even further with it. Why doesn't he just deactivate his account like he did back in the day? Oh, because he's not a Twitch partner no more. There's no real reason to deactivate his account. It's not going to work against his narrative, and he himself still has some type of hope that Twitch will take him back. Well, here's the thing, since DSP is stuck in level 1, right? If Dr. Disrespect, if he has won his lawsuit, or they're in the final stages of resolving it, or whatever the situation is, if he's not going to go back, because there's talks of Twitch had reached out to him and see if he'd be interested in coming back or whatever after the settlement or whatever, and he's not going back, why the fuck should DSP do it? And as Disguised Toast had spoke about, he said when you have some of the bigger Twitch streamers picking up and leaving the platform is one thing. Business is business, money is money, yada yada yada. Everybody has their reasons. When you're on top and when you have a large following, you can pretty much move wherever you want to move. When the mid-level guys start to pick up and jump from Twitch to YouTube or to Facebook Gaming or whatever other platform, that's when Twitch should be worried. And it's correct, because a lot of the bigger guys who are leaving, Twitch is going to try to uplift, or try to elevate, I should say, the mid-level streamers, the mid-carders, if you will. They're going to try to elevate them so they have a whole new demographic of top streamers. You know what I'm saying? But when you have those up and coming guys or those mid-level people who are established and they're starting to make their way up, when you see them leaving, and when they start to come to realize, hey, I have options, that's when Twitch should be worried. And keep in mind, didn't DSP say that Twitch was the place to be? That's the popular place, yada, 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 yada. The landscape has changed quite a bit. Not just with how the money's being cut up, but just the atmosphere on Twitch. He's not over there because he's not built for it. He's not. And if you look at the detractor landscape, you got detractors out there who dual stream, or you have detractors who do React streams over there. And as far as I know, they're doing well. And I hope they continue to do so. I hope more members or more detractors get motivated to dual stream or consider jumping over there or whatever and getting themselves established. Why not? Why limit yourself if you don't have to? You know what I'm saying? Whether they decide to do gaming, whether they start to react to DSP shit, whether they decide to do both. Whatever the case may be. And DSP doesn't hold no sway over there. And he doesn't have anybody that can protect him anymore. It's open season and he knows it and he hates it. And he hates it. So now he has to stay over here on YouTube and essentially take whatever scraps that they give him. And he's not a priority. He's not someone of relevancy that they need to include him into every little thing just because he's been on the platform. You've been on the platform for 12 fucking years or whatever the case may be, and you still can't hit 200,000 views, or 200,000 subs. You're barely pulling 5,000 views of video, even on the new shit. You got fucking playthroughs that are going up into the hundreds of when you get in the parts. Or up in the hundreds. And yet you can't even upload videos on your fucking page correctly. Saying, or with the mindset that, oh, they shouldn't be watching anything on my front page anyway. They should be just going to the playlist. But what the fuck do you have? What's the point of even having a video catalog then if you can't go through it? You shouldn't have to just go through a playlist. What if someone doesn't want to commit to that? A playlist is a commitment. That's really what it is. It's a commitment. So instead of doing that, and keep in mind, I think he can go in there and he can actually switch up the lineup on YouTube. Meaning that like everything that when you go under videos and you see how that shit's just a fucking total goddamn mess. I think you can actually change where all that goes. I'm gonna have to look myself. But he needs to clean that up. Because if you're someone who's coming to DSP's channel for the first time, let's say you're on one of his streams and you're partially being indoctrinated to some of the pignosis. When you go to his video section, it's all over the place. It's discombobbled. It's terrible. And the reason why he doesn't get views is really comes down to the presentation. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. The presentation of his channel is just shit. Utter shit. And everything is everywhere. And he does that on purpose because he wants you to go to the playlist. But going to a playlist or using a playlist is a commitment. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to go to if you can have an option, let's use a food analogy. If you go to a restaurant, right, that offers plated meals, right? Or plated dinners, but they also give you an option of a buffet, yeah? What are you going to do? You're more than likely going to go to the buffet first. You know what I'm saying? You want to try a little bit of everything and see what they have before you commit to your $60 plate, your $80 plate, your $100 plate, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a little bit of a sample. And DSP don't see that. The best way to look at YouTube in that way, shape, or form is think of it as like a mixtape. Think of it as an album, if you will. And with that being said, it needs to have some type of structure. It needs to be presented in such a way that is appealing. If you're too stupid to be able to have 11, 12, and 13 be in order, if you can't do that, I should say, then who's to say that you're relevant or your gameplay is going to do anything about anything? It's all over the place. And there's no real evolution. It's the same layout over and over and over again. He didn't try anything new. He didn't ask whoever it is who makes his thumbnails to try anything new. It's just the same regurgitated shit over and over again. And though it's fair to put out the argument that, hey, he's not paying them, so why would the guy put any effort in? DSP is not creative, so he doesn't have any ideas to to place upon this person to do so. And more importantly, if the person has followed DSP for any amount of time, that he's willing to become a serf and do what he's doing, he probably knows DSP doesn't want any change. He's not willing to implement change. So why should he have to change then if DSP is just going to shit on it or reject it anyway? DSP in his basic bitch standard that he's had for so long is stagnation. It's textbook stagnation. And it's always going to be this way. It's always been this way. And history has proven it. As I've always said, DSP is his greatest detractor. As I've always said, you give DSP enough rope and he'll hang himself. And it's going to be a slow and agonizing end. It doesn't have to be this way. It didn't need to be this way. He chose it to be this way. What are you going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys for the next one. Like I said, we got a lot of work to do. This is your boy GTG. This is DSP News. This is the Pseudo Snort Report. This is SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Take care of yourselves.